The greatest battle you'll ever fight isn't in the world, it's in your own mind. Every day, your thoughts are training you to win or to lose. Your mind is the architect of your reality, and if you don't take command, it will build prisons out of your fears. This is not philosophy. This is survival. If you don't rule your mind, it will rule you. And if it rules you, it will destroy your potential, your peace, and your purpose. This audiobook is your wake-up call. Let's begin the war for your mind.
Chapter 1. Stop letting thoughts think you. You are not your thoughts. Let that sink in. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. And until you understand that, your life will belong to that voice, not to you. Most people never stop to question their thoughts. They just follow them. They wake up and immediately become passengers in their own minds. The thought says, "You're tired." They obey. The thought says, "You're not good enough." They believe. The thought says, "Maybe tomorrow," and they agree. Not because it's true, but because they never learn how to take control. Your thoughts are not facts. They are habits. They are mental echoes, repeated loops of the same stories you've told yourself for years. Fear repeats itself. Doubt repeats itself. And because repetition feels familiar, you confuse it for truth. That's how the mind traps you, by disguising comfort as truth and fear as logic. So the first rule of mental mastery is this: awareness is your first weapon. Before you can rule the mind, you must see the mind. Before you can change a thought, you must catch it in the act. That's the observer principle. You are not the thought. You are the observer of the thought. If you can see the thought, you can stop the thought. If you can stop the thought, you can redirect the thought. Say that again, out loud if you have to. If I can see it, I can stop it. If I can stop it, I can redirect it. That simple truth can change your life. Because once you start observing your thoughts, you realize how automatic they are. They're like background noise, constant, repetitive, and rarely original. You think the same 60,000 thoughts every day, and 90% of them are recycled from yesterday. You're not thinking, you're remembering. You're reliving the same emotions, replaying the same doubts, and calling it reality. The untrained mind is a factory of repetition. It produces the same product: fear, procrastination, comparison. And until you shut down that factory, you'll keep manufacturing your own suffering. That's why awareness matters, because awareness breaks automation. When a negative thought appears, don't run from it. Don't fight it. Just see it. Observe it. Name it. Say, "Ah, there's the doubt again. There's the fear again. There's the old story trying to play on repeat." The moment you label it, you separate yourself from it. And that separation gives you power. Power to choose a new response. Power to stop letting thoughts think you. Let's get practical. You wake up in the morning and the first thought hits: "I'm tired." Pause. See it. Don't attach to it, because that thought is not you. It's a conditioned reflex. Ask yourself, is this thought serving me? If not, replace it. I'm ready. I'm alive. I'm moving. And move. Because action is how you teach the mind who's in charge. Every time you obey a weak thought, you strengthen it. Every time you disobey it, you weaken it. The mind learns from consistency. So teach it who leads. Show it through repetition. I decide what I think. I decide what I feel. I decide what I do. The average person believes their thoughts are reality. That's why they stay trapped. They say, I can't help it, that's just how I think. No, it's how you've trained yourself to think. And anything trained can be retrained. That's mental discipline. The same way you train your body, you train your mind. Repetition, resistance, awareness. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because nothing changes until your thoughts do. Let me tell you a truth you can't ignore. Your thoughts will fight back. When you try to take control, they'll get louder. They'll try to pull you back to comfort. The mind loves familiarity, even if familiarity hurts. It would rather stay in a known misery than enter an unknown freedom. That's why so many people stay stuck. Their comfort zone is a mental prison with open doors. They could walk out any time, but the mind whispers, stay. It's safe here. Don't listen, because safety is the enemy of growth. You weren't born to play it safe. You were born to wake up. And waking up starts by watching your mind like a hawk. Every time it tells you something that limits you, stop it. Interrupt it. Redirect it. Replace it. Repetition builds control. Say it again. If I can see it, I can stop it. If I can stop it, I can redirect it. You are the thinker, not the thought. You are the driver, not the passenger. You are the ruler, not the ruled. But you must act like it every single day. Because the mind doesn't respect weakness. It obeys strength. You must prove through consistency that you are the one in charge. That means catching yourself when you spiral. That means refusing to let one negative thought multiply into 100. That means breaking the loop before the loop breaks you. It takes vigilance. It takes awareness. It takes constant correction. But over time, something powerful happens. The noise quiets. The fear slows down. And the voice that used to control you becomes a whisper you can easily ignore. That's the beginning of mastery. When the mind no longer controls your state, you do. Remember this, the mind is a tool, a powerful one. But a tool left unattended becomes dangerous. A knife in the wrong hands cuts its owner. A mind without direction destroys its host. So pick up the handle, grip it firmly, and give your mind a job. Serve me, obey me, follow me. You are not here to be ruled, you are here to rule. From this point forward, every time a thought appears, ask one question. Did I choose this? If the answer is no, you know what to do. See it, stop it, redirect it. Because if you don't choose your thoughts will choose your life. And they won't choose wisely. You have one mind, one voice, one internal world. Master it, and the external world bows to you. Neglect it, and the external world will crush you. The greatest battle is not against others. It's against your own mental autopilot. Win that battle, and nothing outside of you can shake your power. You've just learned the first rule of ruling your mind, awareness. Seeing the thought before it becomes action. Stopping the thought before it becomes belief. Redirecting the thought before it becomes your life. That's how you take back control. Because if you can see the thought, you can stop the thought. And if you can stop the thought, you can redirect the thought. That's how you stop letting thoughts think you. That's how you begin to rule your mind. You've learned to observe your thoughts. Now it's time to give those thoughts direction, because awareness without command is half power.
Chapter 2. The mind is a servant, not a master. Your mind was designed to serve you, but most people live as if they were born to serve it. They obey every thought, every emotion, every impulse, as if the mind were their master. It isn't. It never was. The mind is a tool, a servant, a system you're meant to control. But when you stop giving the mind orders, it starts giving you orders. When you stop leading it, it starts leading you. And that's when everything falls apart. The servant becomes the ruler, and the ruler forgets who's in charge. That's where you are right now, learning to take back command. Your mind is like a powerful machine. It follows programming. Whatever you feed it, it runs. If you feed it doubt, it runs fear. If you feed it direction, it runs discipline. If you give it chaos, it builds confusion. Your results always match your instructions. Think of it like this. The mind doesn't decide, it obeys. It listens to the loudest voice inside you. And for most people, that voice is fear. Fear says, don't try. The mind obeys. Fear says, stay small. The mind obeys. Fear says, maybe tomorrow. The mind obeys. Not because it wants to, but because that's the order you gave it. Your thoughts are commands. Your attention is power. Whatever you focus on, your mind builds a world around. So if your attention stays on what's wrong, your mind becomes an architect of misery. But if you focus on what's possible, your mind builds doors where walls used to be. You are the commander. The mind is the soldier. But the soldier needs direction. If you don't tell it what to do, it will default to survival mode. And survival mode doesn't build greatness. It just keeps you alive. The mind's natural setting is protection. Your job is to change that setting to progress. That means you must give your mind clear orders every single day. Tell it what matters. Tell it what to do. Tell it what to ignore. When you wake up, don't let the mind decide what kind of day it will be. You decide. You command. You declare. Say it out loud if you have to. I lead, my mind follows. I command, my mind obeys. I rule, my mind serves. This is not about arrogance, it's about alignment. When the mind serves you, life flows. When the mind rules you, life fights back. Because a mind without guidance turns energy into anxiety. It turns power into paralysis. It turns vision into fear. Your job is to redirect that energy toward creation, not confusion. Let's make it practical. Imagine a storm outside your window. You can't stop it. You can't control it. But you can control what happens inside your house. You can close the windows. You can turn on the light. You can stay calm. That's your relationship with your mind. The storm is life. The house is you. You can't stop the chaos of the world, but you can command the order of your thoughts. So when your mind says, I can't handle this, you respond, you can and you will. When it says, I'm tired, you say, we move anyway. When it says, what if I fail? You say, then we learn faster. This is mental leadership. This is you reclaiming command. But listen carefully. Your mind will resist. It doesn't like being told what to do.
It's been in charge for years. It's comfortable in control. So when you start giving it orders, it'll push back. It'll whisper, "Why bother?" It'll shout, "You can't change." It'll try to wear you down. That's its test. And your answer must always be the same. I lead, you follow. Consistency is the key. You can't lead the mind once and expect obedience forever. You must lead it daily, hourly, moment by moment. Repetition builds submission. The more consistent your commands, the more obedient your mind becomes. Soon, the same thoughts that once fought you will start to serve you. The same patterns that held you down will start lifting you up. That's what mastery looks like. It's not silence, it's control. It's not about having no thoughts, it's about having thoughts that serve your mission. Let's talk about what that looks like. A mastered mind acts with intention. It doesn't chase every feeling, it doesn't follow every impulse. It asks, "Does this serve my purpose?" before it acts. If the answer is no, it stops, instantly. No debate, no drama, no delay. Because the mind loves negotiation. It wants to argue. It wants to justify weakness. That's how it regains power, by pulling you into conversation. Don't take the bait. You don't debate with the mind, you direct it. You don't negotiate with weakness, you command strength. Every time you take charge, your mind learns something new. It learns who's in charge. It learns what obedience feels like. It learns that discipline is safety. That's when your life changes, because the mind starts working for you instead of against you. A mind that serves you is calm under chaos. It acts when others hesitate. It focuses when others freeze. It follows your purpose, not your panic. That's the mark of mastery. So how do you train it? Through repetition, through language, through command. You must talk to your mind the way a leader talks to a team. Clear, firm, certain. Never vague, never emotional, never pleading. You don't ask your mind to be strong, you tell it to be. You don't hope it listens, you expect it to. Because authority doesn't beg, it commands. Say it again. I lead, my mind follows. I command, my mind obeys. I rule, my mind serves. Repeat it until it's truth. Repeat it until your thoughts fall in line like soldiers on a battlefield. Because that's exactly what this is, a battlefield. You versus the undisciplined mind. Win that war, and you win yourself. Never forget this. The mind is not the enemy. It's a servant waiting for direction. It's powerful, capable, and loyal when properly trained. But it's dangerous when neglected. So treat it like what it is, a tool for greatness. Sharpen it, use it, command it, and never, ever let it take your throne again. Because when you lead your mind, it gives you clarity. When you lead your mind, it gives you peace. When you lead your mind, it gives you power. But when you let it lead you, it takes all three away. So rule your mind, don't serve it. Command it, don't obey it. Because the mind that obeys is your greatest ally, but the mind that rules is your greatest enemy. And now that you know how to lead it, it's time to face the next enemy, doubt. Because once you start ruling your mind, you'll hear the voice that tries to pull you back, the whisper that says, "You're not enough." Let's silence that voice once and for all.
Next, Chapter 3. Kill the voice of doubt. Doubt is the quiet killer of potential. It doesn't scream, it whispers.
It doesn't attack from the outside. It grows from within. It waits in your mind, disguised as logic, disguised as caution, disguised as being realistic. But doubt is not realism. Doubt is fear, dressed in reason. And if you don't kill it, it will kill your confidence, your vision, your momentum. Doubt is not your advisor. Doubt is your assassin. You've heard that voice before. We all have. It says, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. Someone else can do it better." That voice sounds familiar, doesn't it? Because it uses your own tone, your own thoughts, your own language. That's how it wins. It convinces you that it's you. But listen carefully. You are not the voice of doubt. You are the awareness that hears it. You are the strength that can silence it. You are the commander that can overrule it. The mind is full of voices, but only one can lead. And if you don't choose that voice consciously, the loudest one will lead by default. Usually, that's doubt. Doubt is the echo of past failure. It's every mistake you ever made repeated as a warning. It's your memory pretending to be your intuition. But memory can't predict your future. It only replays your past. And if you live by that voice, you're living by limitation, not potential. Here's the truth. Everyone hears the voice of doubt. The difference between the strong and the weak is simple. The weak listen. The strong answer back. You can't stop doubt from speaking, but you can stop it from leading. You can't mute the voice, but you can dominate the conversation. And that's what you're going to learn to do right now. Step 1. Identify the voice. The first step to killing doubt is to recognize when it's speaking. Doubt has patterns. It always starts small. It waits for a moment of hesitation, then whispers, "Maybe not today." It waits for a setback, then says, "See, I told you." It waits for silence, then fills it with insecurity. The moment you hear that voice, stop and say this, "That's not me. That's the voice of doubt. I see you. You're not in charge." Awareness exposes it. Because doubt thrives in darkness, it dies in attention. Once you name it, it loses power. You can't fight what you can't see, but the moment you see it, it has nowhere to hide. Step 2. Confront the voice. When doubt speaks, don't retreat, don't reason with it. Confront it. When it says you can't, respond, "Watch me." When it says you're not enough, say, "I decide what's enough." When it says, "What if you fail?" say, "Then I'll learn faster." You kill doubt by starving it of compliance. Every time you move in the face of doubt, you weaken it. Every time you act despite fear, you shrink it. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you build proof, and proof is poison to doubt. That's the truth most people forget. Doubt doesn't disappear by thinking. It disappears by doing. You can't outthink fear. You have to outact it. Action is the antidote to doubt. Movement is the medicine. Say it again. Doubt talks, strength acts. Because the longer you listen, the stronger it gets. The moment you act, it loses control. Step 3. Replace the voice. Once you stop listening to doubt, you must replace it with a stronger voice. Nature hates a vacuum. If you don't fill your mind, doubt will. So fill it with certainty. Not arrogance, not fantasy, certainty. Certainty that you can figure it out. Certainty that you can adapt. Certainty that you'll endure.
That's not blind optimism, that's self-leadership. It's saying, I may not know everything, but I'll handle whatever comes. That's how warriors think. That's how winners operate. Not in guarantees, but in trust. The trust that no matter what happens, they'll stay standing. You must speak to your mind like a leader speaks to a team under fire. When chaos breaks out, the leader doesn't panic. They breathe, they focus, they direct. That's what you must do when doubt screams in your head. Say to yourself, I hear the doubt, but I don't obey it. I feel the fear, but I move anyway. I control the voice. It does not control me. Repetition builds authority. The more you say it, the more your mind learns who's boss. The voice of doubt will still speak, but it will get quieter. It will shrink. It will lose its authority, because a servant can only shout if the master listens. Step 4. Build the proof loop. Here's the secret weapon. You kill doubt by collecting evidence that you can't be stopped. Every time you follow through on your word, you build proof. Every time you take action while afraid, you build proof. Every time you keep going when others quit, you build proof. And proof creates belief. Belief creates momentum. Momentum kills doubt. That's how you rewrite the code of your mind. Through action, through repetition, through proof. You don't just tell your mind you can, you show it. And once your mind believes you, it obeys you without question. That's mental mastery. That's what happens when the servant learns its place. When the voice of doubt loses its power and the voice of strength takes over. Doubt isn't evil, it's a test. It asks one question every day. Who's in charge here? And your answer must always be the same. I am. Say it again. I am in charge of my thoughts. I am in charge of my voice. I am in charge of my mind. Because if you don't lead your mind, doubt will. Don't let doubt sit in the driver's seat of your destiny. Throw it out, lock the doors, keep driving. You don't need its permission. You don't need its approval. You only need your decision. Doubt dies in decision. Fear fades in motion. Confidence grows in proof. So move, act, decide. Because every step you take is one less word doubt gets to speak. Remember this forever. Doubt talks, strength acts. Doubt hesitates, strength moves. Doubt questions, strength decides. That's how you kill the voice of doubt, by replacing its noise with action, by proving again and again that you will not bow to fear. Because when you stop listening to doubt, you start listening to power. And when you start listening to power, everything in your life changes. You've learned to kill the voice that tries to hold you back. Now it's time to starve the fuel that feeds it, fear. Because doubt lives on one thing, attention. Take that away, and it dies. So in the next chapter, we go deeper. You've silenced doubt. Now, let's cut off its oxygen.
Chapter 4. Stop feeding fear. Fear doesn't need truth to grow. It only needs your attention. Whatever you feed with your focus, you strengthen. Whatever you starve, you weaken. And most people are unknowingly feeding fear every single day. They don't mean to, they just don't realize that fear is a hungry animal, and attention is its food. Every time you replay a worry, every time you scroll through negativity, every time you dwell on what could go wrong,
You feed it. You make it stronger. You make it louder. Until one day, fear is all you hear. You were not born fearful. You were trained to be. You were programmed to fear rejection, to fear failure, to fear being seen, to fear what others think. But fear is not natural. It's nurtured. And what's nurtured can be untrained. So listen closely. Fear survives on what you feed it. And the only way to kill fear is to starve it. Step 1. Recognize what you're feeding it. Fear grows in silence and repetition. Every fearful thought you entertain is a meal. Every story you tell yourself about why something won't work, it eats. Every time you say, "I can't," fear gets stronger. Every time you imagine the worst, fear gets smarter. You must start noticing what you give your attention to, because attention is energy. And energy builds whatever it touches. Think about your day. How many times do you check the news just to confirm your worries? How many times do you scroll through other people's highlight reels and tell yourself you're behind? How many times do you replay old mistakes in your mind? That's all food for fear. And as long as you keep feeding it, fear will always have the strength to lead. So, step 1 is awareness. Catch yourself in the act. When you start feeding fear with your thoughts, stop mid-bite. Interrupt the pattern. Because you can't starve fear if you keep giving it snacks. Say this out loud. Fear feeds on focus. My focus is mine. Repeat it until you feel it. Because once you reclaim your focus, fear starts to weaken. Step 2. Starve the fear. Starving fear is simple, but not easy. It means cutting off its food supply. That means no more indulging in negativity, no more sitting in what-ifs, no more rehearsing failure before it happens. Every time a fearful thought shows up, you have one job. Don't feed it. Don't give it time, attention, or energy. Just say, "No, you don't eat here anymore." You do this by shifting your focus. Fear can't survive in the same space as faith, purpose, or gratitude. Those are fear's opposites. So when fear rises, redirect your attention. Gratitude starves fear. Action starves fear. Focus starves fear. Say it again. Starve the fear. Feed the focus. This isn't just a phrase. It's a strategy. When fear says you can't, focus on what you can. When fear says you'll fail, focus on what you'll learn. When fear says you're not enough, focus on your effort, your progress, your growth. Every time you shift focus, you weaken fear's grip. Because fear's strength is built on attention, and you control where your attention goes. Step 3. Change your mental diet. What you consume shapes how you think. What you watch, read, and listen to becomes fuel for your mind. If your daily intake is negativity, gossip, and chaos, don't be surprised when your mind feels anxious. You've been feeding it junk. So clean up your mental diet. Replace noise with knowledge. Replace complaining with creation. Replace fear-based content with purpose-based content. You don't need to consume everything, you need to consume what makes you stronger. The mind is a sponge. It soaks up whatever it's around. So surround it with strength. Be ruthless about your inputs. Mute the noise that weakens you. Unfollow the distractions that drain you. Stop scrolling through fear disguised as entertainment. This is mental nutrition. You are either feeding focus or feeding fear. There's no middle ground. So ask yourself right now, what am I feeding my mind? If the answer is fear, it's time to change the menu. Step 4. Move, even while afraid. Starving fear doesn't mean waiting for it to disappear. It means refusing to let it dictate your actions. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the refusal to feed it with your choices. When you act despite fear, you send a message to your mind. I don't serve fear. Fear serves me. And that message reprograms your brain, because the mind learns through action, not argument. Every time you move forward while afraid, fear loses faith in its own story. It starts to realize, wait, maybe they don't listen to me anymore. That's when fear starts starving itself. Because fear can't survive in motion. It thrives in stagnation. So when fear whispers, move faster. When fear freezes you, take one step. When fear says stop, say, watch me go. Action is your rebellion. Action is your victory. Action is how you starve fear to death. Say it again. Starve the fear. Feed the focus. Move anyway. Step 5. Replace fear with focus. You can't just remove fear, you must replace it. A mind without direction will always drift back to fear. So give it something to build instead. Replace fear with focus. Focus on progress, not perfection. Focus on learning, not losing. Focus on what you control, not what you can't. Fear is loud, but focus is powerful. When your energy shifts to creation, fear fades into the background. Because focus gives your mind a mission, and fear can't coexist with purpose. So build something, start something. Train your mind to chase goals, not ghosts. Because when your mind has purpose, fear runs out of room. You were not created to live in fear. You were created to create. You were built to move forward, not freeze in place. But to do that, you must take away fear's power source, your attention. Fear is clever. It will always try to get your focus back. It will tempt you with worry. It will bait you with what-ifs. It will lure you with the illusion of safety. But safety isn't peace. Safety is stagnation. And the longer you hide in it, the smaller your life becomes. So stand up. Take your power back. Take your focus back. Because the moment you do, fear starves. And when fear starves, freedom grows. Say this with me. I starve fear. I feed focus. I move forward. Repeat it until it becomes a command. Repeat it until fear goes silent. Because it will. Fear only survives if you feed it. So starve it. Starve it with gratitude. Starve it with action. Starve it with focus. And every time it comes back for a meal, remember, it eats what you give it. So give it nothing. You've learned how to starve fear. Now it's time to replace it with something even more powerful: discipline. Because once fear dies, freedom begins. And freedom without structure quickly turns into chaos. So let's build that structure. Let's talk about the foundation that keeps your mind strong, focused, and free.
Chapter 5. Discipline is freedom. Freedom is not the absence of rules. Freedom is the result of self-rule. And that means one thing: discipline. Most people get it backward. They think discipline limits them. They think discipline is control, restriction, rigidity. But that's not true. the opposite is true. Discipline is the gateway to real freedom, because the undisciplined mind is a prisoner of impulse. And the disciplined mind? It's unstoppable. When you master discipline, you no longer wait to feel ready. You move because you've trained your mind to obey your purpose, not your mood. That's freedom. Freedom from procrastination. Freedom from excuses. Freedom from the pull of comfort that keeps you small. Step 1. Discipline begins where motivation ends. Motivation is emotion. It's inconsistent. It's unreliable. Motivation is great for getting started, but it's discipline that keeps you going when the feeling fades. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it because I said I would. And that is the difference between people who dream and people who do. You see, freedom is not waking up whenever you want, eating whatever you want, doing whatever you want. That's chaos. And chaos creates chains. Chains of regret, chains of weakness, chains of stagnation. Discipline is structure, and structure builds strength. Strength builds confidence. Confidence builds freedom. When your mind knows you'll do what you said you'd do, it starts to trust you again. And a mind that trusts itself is free. Say it out loud. Discipline is my freedom. Repeat it until it becomes a truth. Step 2. Discipline is a daily decision. Discipline is not something you find. It's something you choose every day. It's built one decision at a time. One yes to growth, one no to distraction. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, discipline grows. Every time you break one, weakness wins. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do what matters, every day, without negotiation. Think of your mind like a soldier. It needs orders. It needs structure. If you don't give it commands, it will drift into comfort. And comfort kills progress. So give your mind a mission. Wake up with a plan. Follow through with precision. Because discipline is not punishment, it's protection. Protection from your own laziness. Protection from fear, from doubt, from chaos. When you have discipline, you protect your time, your focus, your future. That's what freedom really looks like. Step 3. Discipline destroys excuses. Excuses are the language of the undisciplined, and your mind will whisper them all day long. I'm tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow. But every excuse you accept becomes a seed of weakness, and every excuse you crush becomes a muscle of strength. When you train discipline, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop entertaining the voice that wants comfort more than growth. Ask yourself this: do you want peace or do you want easy? Because easy gives you temporary comfort and permanent regret. Discipline gives you temporary struggle and permanent strength. That's the trade, and it's always worth it. The mind loves comfort because comfort feels safe. But comfort doesn't create freedom. It creates dependence. Dependence on feeling good before doing good. Dependence on conditions before action. And that's not freedom. That's bondage. You don't need perfect conditions. You need consistent execution. You don't need to wait for the mood. You need to move in spite of the mood. Say it. I don't wait for easy. I act with discipline. Step 4. Train your mind like a muscle. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a practice. You train it just like you train your body.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Start small. Win the morning. Win the first hour. Make your bed. Finish your workout. Eat with intention. Work without distraction. Stack the wins. Every small act of discipline is a deposit into your freedom account. You don't need to make giant leaps. You need to make daily deposits. And yes, it will be hard. Discipline is supposed to be hard. That's why so few people master it. But remember this: if you don't pay the price of discipline, you'll pay the price of regret. And regret costs more, always. So start small, but start today. Your mind learns from repetition. The more you practice following through, the less resistance you'll feel. Because repetition builds identity. And once discipline becomes your identity, freedom follows naturally. Step 5. Discipline creates inner peace. Discipline is misunderstood. People think it's harsh. They think it's rigid. But real discipline brings peace. Because discipline removes decision fatigue. You don't waste energy choosing. You just do. You don't debate with your mind. You command it. And that clarity brings calm. When your days have order, your mind has rest. When your habits have structure, your heart has space. When your focus has direction, your spirit has peace. That's why disciplined people move differently. They don't panic under pressure. They don't crumble under stress. They've trained their mind to stay steady. Because structure creates stability. And stability is freedom. So remember this: the goal of discipline isn't control, it's peace. And peace is the highest form of freedom. Step 6. Discipline is self-respect. Discipline is not punishment, it's proof of self-respect. When you keep your word, you prove to yourself that you are trustworthy. When you follow through, you show your mind who's in charge. And when you do that long enough, you build power. Power isn't loud. It's quiet consistency. It's the confidence of knowing you can count on you. That's why disabled people feel lost. They've stopped trusting themselves. They say they'll change, but they don't. They promise, but they don't follow through. And that gap destroys confidence. So close the gap. Keep your word. Show your mind that when you speak, it's law. That's freedom. Freedom from shame. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from self-doubt. Say it with me. My word is my discipline. My discipline is my freedom. You've now learned the truth. Discipline isn't the enemy of freedom. It's the foundation of it. Without discipline, your mind is chaos. Without discipline, your focus is scattered. Without discipline, your dreams are just noise. But with discipline, everything changes. Your habits align, your actions sharpen, your power returns. Because discipline turns potential into progress, and progress is the purest form of freedom. You've built structure, you've built strength. Now it's time to build stillness. Because true mastery of the mind isn't just about control, it's about calm. You've learned to command your thoughts, but can you quiet them? That's the next step.
Chapter 6. The Discipline of Silence. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is power. In a world that screams for attention, the person who can stay still, the person who can stay silent, rules the room. Because silence isn't empty, it's full of information, full of strength, full of mastery. The mind that can be quiet is a mind that can be controlled.
The mind that can't stop talking, can't stop reacting, can't stop scrolling, can't lead. Discipline isn't just doing, it's knowing when not to do. It's knowing when to pause, when to listen, when to wait. That's what silence teaches you. And until you master silence, you haven't mastered your mind. Step 1. Silence is the training ground of strength. Most people fear silence. They drown it out with noise, music, chatter, screens, distraction. Because silence exposes the truth, and the truth is uncomfortable. In silence, you hear your real thoughts. In silence, you meet your real fears. In silence, you confront yourself. That's why so many avoid it, because it's easier to stay busy than to sit still. But growth begins when the noise stops. Silence is the mirror that reveals what you've been running from. It shows you where your mind still controls you. It shows you how addicted you are to stimulation. If you can't sit still for 5 minutes without reaching for your phone, your mind owns you. If you can't go a day without noise, your fear of stillness is your prison. So start there. Train yourself to sit in silence. Just 5 minutes. No phone, no music, no talking. Just you. Listen to what comes up. That's your training ground. You can't control your mind if you're afraid to hear it. So face it. Sit in silence until silence feels like home. Step 2. Silence sharpens awareness. When you stop talking, you start noticing. When you stop reacting, you start seeing. Most people miss life because they're too loud in their own heads. They're rehearsing what to say next instead of listening to what's happening now. They're planning their response instead of understanding reality. Silence trains awareness. It teaches you to observe before you act. It gives you distance from emotion and power over reaction. A silent mind can see clearly. A noisy mind can't see at all. When you pause before you speak, you control the energy in the room. When you breathe before you react, you control the direction of your life. That's how you move from impulsive to intentional. Try it. The next time someone provokes you, don't respond immediately. Wait. Breathe. Let silence do the talking. You'll see how silence disarms chaos. You'll see how stillness creates authority. Because power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just doesn't move. Step 3. Silence protects energy. You waste energy every time you argue, explain, or defend yourself to people who don't understand you. You lose focus every time you try to prove your worth through words. Silence is your shield. It protects your energy from pointless battles. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to explain every move. You don't need to justify your purpose to those who don't share it. The undisciplined mind needs validation. The disciplined mind needs peace. When you practice silence, you reclaim your power. You stop reacting to noise and start choosing your battles. And that choice saves energy. Energy you can use to build, to grow, to move forward. Let others talk. Let others judge. Let others doubt. You stay still. You stay focused. You stay silent. Because silence speaks volumes, especially when it comes from confidence. Step 4. Silence sharpens focus. Your focus is fragile in a world of endless noise. Every notification, every opinion, every distraction steals a piece of your mind. But silence resets it. Silence is the mind's detox. When you sit in silence, your thoughts settle. Your priorities rise to the surface. You begin to see what matters and what doesn't. That's why silence is a discipline, because it clears the clutter that chaos creates. Try it daily. 5 minutes of silence in the morning. No screens, no input. just awareness. Then watch what happens. Your focus sharpens. Your emotions calm. Your decisions become cleaner. Because clarity lives in silence, and silence gives birth to strength. Remember this. Noise distracts. Silence directs. If you want control of your mind, you must return to stillness. Step 5. Silence is the language of mastery. Every master, every great leader, thinker, or creator understands silence. They use it like a weapon, because silence gives power to words. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you pause, people listen. When you hold your energy, you hold command. Mastery is not about saying more, it's about saying what matters. It's about acting from clarity, not emotion. The disciplined mind knows that silence is not retreat, it's recharge. It's the space between thought and action, the gap where wisdom grows. Because silence doesn't just quiet the noise outside, it quiets the noise inside. And when the inner noise fades, intuition speaks. That's the voice you need to hear. That's the one guiding your next move. So listen, because your intuition doesn't shout, it whispers. And only a silent mind can hear it. Step 6. Silence is control. Let's make this simple. If you can't control your mouth, you can't control your mind. If you can't control your reactions, you can't control your reality. Every time you speak out of impulse, you lose power. Every time you stay silent out of discipline, you gain it. Silence is restraint, and restraint is control. This doesn't mean you suppress your truth. It means you deliver it with precision, not panic. It means you choose words that build, not words that break. Because silence gives you time to decide, do I want to react or respond? That's control. That's freedom. Say it with me. I use silence as strength. I speak with purpose. Repeat it until it becomes your instinct. You've learned to act with discipline. Now you've learned to pause with discipline. Both are mastery. Because true power is not found in motion alone. It's found in control. And silence is control at its highest level. The person who can sit still, stay calm, stay centered, no matter what's happening, that person is untouchable. So practice it. 5 minutes a day. Then 10. Then 20. Make silence your ritual. Let it teach you calm. Let it sharpen your awareness. Let it remind you that control doesn't always look like force. It often looks like peace. Because the mind ruled by silence is the mind that rules everything else. You've learned to master stillness. Now it's time to master movement again. But not the frantic kind. Purposeful movement. Focused energy. Action aligned with clarity. You've been silent. You've been still. Now let's turn that inner power into outer momentum.
Chapter 7. Move with intention. You've learned to be still. Now it's time to move. But not all movement creates progress. Some movement is just motion. And motion, without intention, is wasted energy. Most people confuse busyness with purpose. They run in circles. They chase everything. They start 10 things and finish none. They're moving, yes, but nowhere meaningful. Because movement alone doesn't make you powerful. Intentional movement does. When you move with intention, every action becomes a step toward freedom. Every choice becomes a statement of control. You stop reacting and you start directing. You stop chasing and you start creating. That's the power of intention. It turns chaos into clarity. It turns activity into advancement. It turns your life from random to precise. Step 1. Stop mistaking motion for progress. Your mind loves motion. It feels like progress. Scrolling feels like learning. Talking feels like planning. Busyness feels like purpose. But it's all noise. Movement without intention is distraction wearing a disguise. You can spend years moving, but never advancing. You can fill your schedule and still feel empty. You can stay busy and still be stuck. Why? Because movement isn't the goal. Direction is. Progress requires purpose. You must know why you're moving before you take the first step. Otherwise, you're running on a treadmill, sweating, panting, burning energy, but going nowhere. So, stop. Ask yourself before every major decision, every task, every conversation, is this movement aligned with my mission? If the answer is no, don't do it. If it doesn't serve your direction, it's just distraction. Say it out loud. I don't move for motion, I move with meaning. Step 2. The power of focused action. Intentional movement is focused action. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. The undisciplined mind wants to do everything. The disciplined mind asks, what actually moves me forward? That's the question you must live by. Because focus creates power. Scattered action creates exhaustion. You can't be everywhere and effective. You can't say yes to everything and still have energy for what matters. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to your purpose. So simplify. Cut the noise. Cut the distractions. Cut the non-essential. Write this down. Most of my movement will not matter in the long run. Read it until it humbles you. Then decide what will matter. That's focus. That's intention. That's power. Step 3. Lead with why, not emotion. The average person moves from emotion. They act out of fear, boredom, or anxiety. They start projects because they're restless. They quit because they're tired. That's emotional movement. Reaction, not direction. And emotional movement drains your energy faster than anything. The intentional person moves from purpose. They don't ask, how do I feel right now? They ask, what matters most right now? That's leadership. That's self-control. That's the mind leading emotion instead of emotion leading the mind. When you move from emotion, you chase relief. When you move from purpose, you chase results. Emotion says, do something now. Intention says, do the right thing now. That's the difference between chaos and control. Say this out loud. I don't move from emotion, I move with purpose. I don't chase noise, I create direction. Because when you move with intention, your energy aligns, your focus strengthens, your results multiply, and your mind, your greatest servant, obeys your mission. You've mastered intention. Now it's time to master connection. Because your energy doesn't just move you, it moves others. And the way you influence others will determine how far you rise. So let's talk about the next level of mental mastery. The energy you project, the impact you create, and the emotional control that holds it all together. Chapter 8. Energy is contagious. Energy is invisible, but its impact is undeniable. It flows from you, even when you're silent. It touches every person you meet, every room you enter, every conversation you have. Some energy lifts, some energy drains. Some energy inspires, some energy destroys. And the truth is simple. You cannot hide your energy. You can't pretend to be calm when your mind is chaotic. You can't pretend to be confident when your spirit is fractured. People feel it even before you say a word. That's why energy is contagious. And if you don't control your energy, it controls you. It controls your relationships. It controls your influence. It controls your results. So let's take control. Step 1. Your energy begins within. Energy doesn't come from others. It comes from your state of mind, your habits, and your discipline. A scattered mind produces scattered energy. A fearful mind produces fearful energy. A disciplined mind produces powerful energy. If your mind is calm, focused, and intentional, your energy radiates confidence. If your mind is chaotic, anxious, and reactive, your energy radiates instability. Energy is the output of the mind. Control your mind, control your energy. And control your energy, control your world. Remember this: calm energy conquers chaos. Step 2. Positive energy feeds the room. Have you ever noticed a person who lights up a room just by walking in? Not because they're loud, not because they're flashy, because their energy is magnetic. That's intentional energy. Positive energy doesn't ignore problems. It doesn't pretend life is perfect. It chooses how to respond, how to act, how to influence. When you lead with positive energy, people follow. They mirror your focus. They reflect your strength. And your influence grows, not because you speak more, but because your energy speaks louder than words. Positive energy is contagious. Your calm creates calm. Your focus inspires focus. Your strength motivates strength. The opposite is true as well. Negativity spreads faster than positivity. Fear, doubt, anger, frustration, they all ripple through a room like wildfire. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize they're spreading it. A complaining coworker, a frustrated friend, a negative thought you keep replaying. They all weaken your environment. They all distract your mind. They all slow your progress. That's why controlling your energy isn't just about you. It's about everyone around you. Say it out loud. I will not allow negative energy to control my influence. Repeat it until it becomes a rule of your life. Step 4. Manage your energy like money. Energy is like currency. You invest it in yourself, your relationships, and your work. You spend it on fear, gossip, drama, and distraction, you go bankrupt. You invest it in purpose, focus, and action, you become wealthy beyond measure. Ask yourself daily, where am I spending my energy? Is it creating results or chaos? Am I fueling fear or focus? Am I feeding doubt or determination? Every interaction, every task, every thought is a transaction. Make it intentional, make it profitable. Because wasted energy is the fastest way to weaken your influence, and wasted influence is the fastest way to fail. Energy
follows focus. Where you put your attention, your energy flows. If you focus on fear, your energy becomes anxious. If you focus on doubt, your energy becomes weak. If you focus on drama, your energy becomes chaotic. But if you focus on purpose, your energy becomes unstoppable. Your energy is a reflection of your mind. The cleaner your focus, the stronger your output. The more intentional your thoughts, the more magnetic your presence. This is why discipline, intention, and silence matter so much. You can't control your energy if your mind is uncontrolled. Say it with me. I control my mind. I control my energy. I control my influence. Step 6. Lead with energy, not words. Words can inspire, but energy convinces. A confident energy can speak louder than any speech. A calm energy can influence more than an argument. A focused energy can shift outcomes faster than persuasion. The most powerful people you've ever met weren't always the loudest. They were the ones whose presence alone commanded attention. Your energy is your authority. Your energy is your leadership. Your energy is your invisible impact. When you move through the world intentionally, your energy spreads. It touches people before you even speak. It sets the tone of every conversation. It defines the environment of every space you enter. That's power, and you can learn it. Step 7. Protect your energy relentlessly. Just as you wouldn't let anyone steal your money, don't let anyone steal your energy. Negativity, gossip, distraction, they are thieves. Every hour you spend in chaos, complaining, or overreacting, your energy drains. So guard it like a fortress. Be aware of who and what you allow into your presence. Be aware of the thoughts you entertain. Be aware of the emotions you feed. Energy is contagious, but so is control. When you are strong, calm, focused, and disciplined, that energy spreads too. Protect it, train it, project it. Your energy is more powerful than your words. It shapes your influence, your outcomes, and your life. When you control it, you control the room. When you project it, you lead without forcing. When you protect it, you multiply your results. The truth is simple. Energy is contagious. What you radiate comes back to you amplified. So give the world what serves your mission. Give the world calm, focus, and strength, because it will return to you tenfold. You've learned to move with intention. You've learned to act with focus. Now you've learned to project energy. Next, it's time to master influence, the invisible force that turns your personal mastery into impact.
Chapter 9. Influence without words. True influence doesn't always come from speaking. It comes from presence. It comes from energy. It comes from action. Most people think influence is about persuasion. They think influence is about arguing, convincing, or selling. But that's temporary. That's weak. That's surface level. Real influence is deeper. It's felt, not told. It's earned, not demanded. People follow those who lead quietly. People respect those who act with consistency. People listen when your life speaks louder than your mouth. Because actions leave a mark, words often cannot. Step 1. Influence starts with integrity. Integrity isn't just a moral concept. It's a tool of influence. When your actions match your words, your presence commands attention. When you keep your promises, your reliability becomes invisible authority. When you act as you say you will, people instinctively follow. The mind notices consistency. The heart respects honesty. And influence grows naturally when trust is established. Without integrity, words are hollow. Without action, charisma is temporary. Without consistency, leadership collapses. Influence without integrity is manipulation. Influence with integrity is mastery. Say it aloud. I lead through action, not words. Step 2. Energy speaks louder than language. We've already learned that energy is contagious. Now realize this: your energy communicates before your words ever do. A confident posture, a calm presence, a focused gaze. These speak volumes. People can sense doubt. People can sense hesitation. People can sense chaos, and they respond accordingly. When your energy is aligned, it doesn't need explanation. It commands rooms. It influences outcomes. It shapes environments. Even silence can convince. Even stillness can inspire. Even a glance can redirect a conversation. Because influence isn't always verbal, it's visceral. Step 3. Authority defines actions. Words are cheap. Anyone can talk. Actions, however, reveal character. Think about the people who influenced you the most. Chances are it wasn't their speeches that stuck. It was what they did consistently. It was the results they produced. It was the example they set. Influence is built on visible proof. When you act consistently, people start believing in your competence. When you take responsibility, people start trusting you. When you solve problems, people start following you. Your words support your actions. They do not replace them. Your credibility grows from execution, not rhetoric. Say this aloud. My influence comes from what I do, not what I say. Step 4. Presence overrides persuasion. When you enter a room, your presence speaks first. Your reputation, your energy, your posture, your confidence, they all communicate before you utter a single word. People are influenced by what they feel in your presence. They react to your certainty. They respect your discipline. They trust your calm. That's why leaders don't have to explain themselves constantly. Their influence precedes them. Their energy commands attention. Their consistency sets the standard. If you want to influence without words, master presence first. Because when people feel your certainty, they follow it naturally. Step 5. Lead through example, not instruction. Stop telling people what to do. Start showing them. If you want your team to work harder yourself. If you want people to respect discipline, live it daily. If you want courage, show it in action. People don't follow advice. They follow models. They imitate results, not speeches. They copy behavior, not instructions. Your influence multiplies when your life aligns with your message. Every small action builds credibility. Every consistent habit reinforces your authority. Every disciplined choice proves your competence. Your life is your most persuasive argument. Your energy is your most powerful speech. Your consistency is your strongest reputation. Say it again. I influence through my life, not my words. Step 6. The subtle power of silence. Influence without words often requires saying nothing at all. Silence creates space for others to reflect, react, and follow. When you interrupt constantly, when you explain every detail, when you over-communicate, you weaken influence. When you pause, observe, and act strategically, influence strengthens. Silence allows observation. Silence allows timing.
Silence allows people to see your decisions as intentional, not reactive. The disciplined use of silence conveys control, and control is magnetic. People gravitate toward those who don't need to prove themselves with constant chatter. Remember, sometimes saying nothing says everything. Influence is contagious too. Just as energy spreads, so does influence. Your behavior, discipline, and results affect others in ways they might not even realize. When you consistently model excellence, others raise their standards. Others adjust their habits. Others mirror your focus and composure. Influence spreads silently through example. It doesn't need recognition. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need permission. The true leader's power is subtle but unstoppable. Because true influence isn't about being seen, it's about being felt. Say it aloud. My influence flows naturally through my actions, energy, and presence. You've learned to move with intention. You've learned to project energy. Now you've learned to lead without words. This is the highest form of influence, silent, deliberate, unstoppable. When you combine all of these lessons, discipline, silence, focus, energy, and intentional action, you become a force in the world without needing to shout. And that is the true mastery of the mind.
You've heard it all. You know now. The war for your life is fought in your mind. Every decision, every reaction, every dream starts with a single thought. You can't control the world, but you can control the voice inside you. So rule it. Command your thoughts, or they will command you. Feed focus. Starve fear. Discipline your mind until it serves your purpose. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to believe. Start ruling now. Because if you don't take control of your mind today, tomorrow it will take control of you. Rule your mind, or it will rule you.